The developer of new money, 2150 to 22,000. Paper money was eventually abandoned and everyone used electronic money cards. One unexpected day, the centralized data banks were infected with computer viruses that erased their entire data banks. The multiple backups of the last 10 years were also compromised. Overnight, electronic data of all money was irretrievably wiped out. Money, in all of its form and all its trace, disappeared. The banks and their services shut down immediately, and all flow of money ceased. At the very same time, viruses infected the centralized power and communication systems worldwide. People found themselves cut off and helpless. After a few days in the dark, the electricity and communication systems got back into operation. The lights turned on and the world began to move again, but banks remained out of operation and people found themselves in a world without money that was for most unimaginable. Many rich people committed suicide. As paper money had been abandoned a long time ago, it was no longer possible to sell or buy things. The best you could do was barter to trade things. Anything of value became a form of money. People who had nothing resorted to pick berries to trade for other things they needed, like bread and butter. Garbage became suddenly valuable as communities gave IOU food vouchers for garbage, and food was the most valuable commodity. Garbage was burnt in ovens to produce electricity. Used items became valuable as new items were no longer being manufactured. All finance grounded to a halt, bringing down the manufacturing and energy industry with it. Factories were abandoned. The food industry disintegrated back to local farms. Local markets sprouted and people resorted to bartering. World transportation ground to a halt. People stayed in their local areas and ate from the local produce. Communication services and the mass media shut down, leaving people in the dark. Some found their new life better than before, but more of them missed the days of money, and many wanted to introduce money again into society. Most agreed that the decentralized version of the centralized system that just died would be not only the best choice, but the only choice to take. I was born the son of a wealthy banker who lost most his wealth overnight 9 months before I was born. The day I was conceived was the day the money system died and the world economy screeched to a halt. When I was 10 years old, my father gave me 5 computers that were laying around, collecting dust. I built a solar panel to power them. I played a lot with them until I could do with them whatever I wanted. Whenever the subject of money came up in history classes at school, I was fascinated and had many questions. We were taught that in the past, prices were governed by supply and demand laws, and that the amount of money issued was determined by how much was needed to keep prices steady. I felt that prices should have been governed by the energy required to produce a product or to perform a service rather than by supply and demand. I also thought that the amount of money issued should be determined by the number of people there were and should not try to control how the market ran. I thought money issued should be just like startup money in the game of Monopoly. For all new players joining the game, sufficient amount of money is issued to accommodate them. I proposed that when people are born, they are credited with an amount that allows them to play the game of life properly and fairly and with fun. You are given startup money that allows you to get an education to prepare you for a paying job. Once you can provide services with your skills, you can get paid and accumulate enough money to start a company. When you die, your startup capital is destroyed, but all wealth accumulated is redistributed amongst all those that have the least. Your children cannot inherit your money. They can inherit material wealth only. I developed a device that measured mental and physical exertion done for doing a series of tasks. I developed a financial system that did not include banks. It was a decentralized system where everyone was his own bank. It was based on my device. This measurement device allowed money to be based not on gold, oil, or promises, but on human exertion. The amount of this new money was to be based on the number of users. There was to be no central governing point, and the only regulation were in the algorithms governing the issuance of money and in the initial registration. It was a just-in-time system that issued just enough money at just the right time and place to just the right person to ensure educational and health well-being. The system was to be open, and algorithms were to be proposed and written by users themselves. Within 5 years, I developed a workable replacement for the once existing centralized banks. It was a peer-to-peer networked system that allowed everyone to be his own bank. It was free to join with only one requirement. You had to have a chip inserted into the forehead under the skin. The chip came with an account containing $1 million to last you a lifetime and pay for your basic living needs. I won the Nobel Prize for my proposal. The prize resulted in my ideas being considered worldwide, and the desperate politicians who were considering everything accepted and implemented my idea. All countries adopted the implantation of the chip as a basic human right. My system provided all the requirements that make money workable. It could not be counterfeited and could not be stolen or lost. It was based on a unique code signed with each person's unique biometric signature. It could be saved and was always redeemable anywhere, anytime, automatically.